Hello and Happy New Year! My name is Ebony and this is the Film Spark podcast where I provide film reviews and media related deep dives. Welcome to Season 2 and the beginning of 2024. It seems only fitting to kick off 2024 with a send-off to 2023. And there's no better way to do that than with a good old-fashioned ranking video. So welcome to my top 10 movies of 2023. But quick disclaimer, this is a list of 10 new watches. That's right, 10 new watches, not necessarily 10 films released in 2023. So with that being said, let's get into the ranking video. Coming in at number 10 is likely to be the most controversial pick of the list, that being Skinamarink. Skinamarink is a 2022 Canadian experimental supernatural horror film, written and directed by Kyle Edward Ball in his feature directorial debut. The film follows two children who wake up during the night to discover that they cannot find their father and that the windows, doors, and other objects in their house are disappearing. If you've seen this one, then you're either a lover or a hater, as there seems to be no in-between. An experimental controversial horror film, I found Skinamarink to be pulling me in with every shot. Sure, it took a little bit to get into the feel of the film, being primarily gritty and fuzzy shots comprising of a blue hue with very minimal dialogue, but once I paid closer attention I found myself hooked and not wanting to look away. Up next at number 9 is Meet the Feebles. Meet the Feebles, also known as Frogs of War in New Zealand as the film's English fake working title, is a 1989 New Zealand puppet musical black comedy film directed by the one and only Peter Jackson. It features Jim Henson-esque puppets in a perverse comic satire. Like Henson's Muppets, the Feebles are animal-figured puppets, plus some suited performers, who are members of a stage troupe. However, whereas the Muppets characterize positivity, naive folly, and innocence, the Feebles largely present negativity, vice, and other misanthropic characteristics. I'm not going to say much about this one, but if you haven't seen it, please go see it, as it is a wild ride to say the least. At 8 we have Director's Cut. Director's Cut is a 2016 American independent black comedy horror film, directed by Adam Rifkin and starring Penn Jillette and Missy Pyle. It follows Herbert Blount, who aspires to replace the real director of a movie and make it his own by capturing the lead actress and inflicting much horror upon her in his vision. This movie is stupid in all the best ways. A film that essentially is a spoof within a spoof within a spoof. It provides a hilarious mix of movie-making incompetence and unhinged self-implication, all run by the perfect casting of Penn Jillette as the insane Herbert Blount. The film points out the steps to make a movie and the magic behind many techniques, however told by a bumbling idiot, as he fixes a film that was close to release starring his favourite leading lady. Sliding into 7 is Ready Player One. Ready Player One is a 2018 American science fiction action film based on Ernest Cline's novel of the same name. Directed by Steven Spielberg from a screenplay by Zach Penn and Cline, it stars Ty Sheridan, Olivia Cooke, Ben Mendelsohn, Lena Waithe, TJ Miller, Simon Pegg, and Mark Rylance. The film is set in 2045, where much of humanity uses the Oasis, a virtual reality simulation, to escape from the real world. A teenage orphan finds clues to a contest that promises ownership of the Oasis to the winner, and he and his allies try to compete in before an evil corporation can do so. Took me a while to see this one, and although I felt I was going to have nothing to like about it, I ended up absolutely loving it. There's a great story, fantastic visuals, and it's definitely up there as one of my favourite Spielberg films. Definitely one to check out if you haven't yet. Sexy 6 is Sissy. Sissy is a 2022 Australian independent horror thriller film written and directed by Hannah Barlow and Kane Scenes, also starring Aisha Dee in the title role. Following teen best friends Cecilia and Emma run into each other after a decade. Cecilia is invited to Emma's bachelorette weekend, where she gets stuck in a remote cabin with her high school bully and a taste for revenge. I'm going to leave the link to my full review on this one here on the screen and in the comment box. There's not much more I can say for this one that I haven't already in the past. And now the top 5, starting with LFO. LFO is a 2013 Swedish science fiction film directed and written by Antonio Tublin, about a man who realizes that he can hypnotize with sound. He starts experimenting on his neighbors, where the abuse of power takes over and eventually severe consequences for mankind are at stake. I have actually released a Patreon only review for this one. Links to the Patreon will be in the comments box. However, as a quickie for the sake of this video, LFO provides a lot to be desired when it comes to using sci-fi and humor when providing social commentary. It's a film that will make you think all while entertaining you at the same time. It's a strange wild ride and the lead is a strange wild man, but it is definitely one to check out if you've got that little bit of a taste for sci-fi. Coming in at number 4 we have John and the Hole. John and the Hole is a 2021 American coming-of-age psychological thriller film directed by Pascal Sisto and written by Nicolas Giacobone. A feature-length adaptation of Giacobone's short story El Pozo, the film stars Charlie Shotwell, Michael C. Hall, Jennifer L., and Thaisa Farmiga. The film revolves around the boy who discovers an unfinished bunker in the neighbouring woods of his home. This is another Patreon-only review that I did for John and the Hole, and it's not for everyone. It's quite bleak at times and quietly volatile. However, I found myself glued to the edge of my seat to see what happens next. It's one I encourage you to see, however I wouldn't be surprised if it's only a one-time watch for many. Before we get into the top 3, here are 3 honourable mentions, with Sunset Boulevard, Killer Pinata, and Kuso. Each extremely different films and each with extremely different budgets. Killer Pinata, about literally a killer pinata, very B grade but a lot of fun of a film. Kuso is an absolutely wild ride. If you're a fan of the weird and creepy shorts and stories and clips by David Firth, then Kuso is the one to check out. It's all primarily completed, I suppose. The screenplay is written by him. I mean, like, there is a director, which is Flying Lotus. But I cannot describe this film. Kuso is just one that you have to check out. It is definitely not one for everyone, but it's definitely high on my list. And Sunset Boulevard, I mean, this film is an absolute classic. It's a gem. It's on every list possible known to mankind that's to do with movies. Another one, just watch it. Just watch all these 3. If you want a really unhinged like movie marathon, watch all of these 3 in a row. But this is my top 3 honourable mentions. Now let's get into that top 3, starting with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem is a 2023 American animated superhero film based on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle characters created by Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman. A reboot of the Turtles film series and follows the group as they go on a hunt for a mysterious crime syndicate and face an army of mutants. The story explores themes of family, acceptance, and conformity. It's Ninja Turtles. Do I really have to say more? Yes, I do. Okay, well, it's fantastically cast, it's really well written, and it's just a lot of fun. The animation style really suits the Turtles, and it's one film that will be rewatchable throughout the ages. For sure. At number 2, we have Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is a 2018 American animated superhero film featuring the Marvel Comics characters Miles Morales or Spider-Man. Produced by Columbia Pictures and Sony Pictures Animation, inspired by the Amazing Spider-Man story arc, Spider-Verse, while also taking inspiration from the Ultimate Marvel Comics, The Death of Spider-Man, and Spider-Man that served as Miles Morales' debut. The film's story follows Miles as he becomes the new Spider-Man and joins other Spider-People from various parallel universes to save the universe from Kingpin. Anyone who knows me knows I'm not a fan of comic films. I usually avoid them like the plague, so the fact that not only did this film make my list, but it's also at the number 2 spot should tell you everything you need to know. Into the Spider-Verse is just a trippy, fun, animated entry into the Spider-Man franchise. It's perfect for older fans and new, and it definitely paves a path for animated films and comic films to come. If you had told me at the start of 2023 my top 3 films would be all animated, I would have laughed in your face. However, with that being said, my number 1 film is the Super Mario Bros. Movie. The Super Mario Bros. Movie is a 2023 American animated adventure comedy film based on Nintendo's Mario video game franchise. The film features an origin story for the brothers Mario and Luigi, Italian-American plumbers who are transported to an alternate world and become entangled in a battle between the Mushroom Kingdom, led by Princess Peach, and the Koopas, led by Bowser. This movie is number 1 for a reason. It tickled every funny and nostalgic bone I wanted it to, and then some. Going in with doubts, I was pleasantly surprised by how much fun I was having watching this gem of a film. The cast, despite what some others think, was cast really well. The family, the characters, the script, it was just a fantastic film. And after watching it again recently with my nephew and watching how his face lit up watching it, it really drove home just how good of a film this is and the rewatchability it has. As a Nintendo fan, a Mario fan, and a film fan, it ticked all the boxes I hoped it would and more. Well, there you have it, guys and gals, my top 10 first watches of 2023. Join me next time for my top 10 worst first watches of 2023. My name is Ebony, this has been the Film Spark Podcast, and thank you for watching.